Hey guys, my name is Dice Rollin'. With Father's Day just around the corner, today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best fathers in horror movies. The kind of dads who will do anything for their kids regardless of what terrifying obstacles stand in their way. So without further ado, these are my top 10 best fathers in horror movies. Doug Wood, The Hills Have Eyes, 1977. While on a road trip, a family breaks down and is attacked by a family of a different kind. A majority of the family is killed, which leaves the remaining members to save the infant taken from them and seek revenge. Doug generally seems like a pretty chill and passive guy when we're first getting to know him, and once his wife is murdered and their baby is taken, he just goes full Liam Neeson. He is 100% set on saving his child and even dishing out some revenge for his wife's death. He does everything he can to salvage what's left of his family. Louis Creed, Pet Sematary, 1989. The Creed family moves to a new home and learns of a makeshift cemetery for local pets near their house. When the unthinkable happens, Louis makes a decision that will essentially doom his family and himself. Now, I've had Louis on my list of some of the dumbest horror movie characters. I still stand by that for reasons I explained in that video. However, at the same time, I do feel like he's a good dad. Misguided and riddled with immense guilt, but a good dad. Before things go sour, Louis shows that he truly loves his wife and kids and wants to spend time with them. He enjoys just being around each of them. Yeah, he can get a little annoyed from time to time, but honestly, what parent doesn't on occasion? Later on, he goes beyond what I'm sure most people would think of to try to bring his son back. While his actions are ultimately the reason for a lot more horrible shit, he's functioning under unimaginable pain and sorrow not just for himself, but for his family. Josh Lambert, Insidious, 2010. After their son goes into a coma, a couple encounters a number of paranormal events that threaten their family. Calling in help from a paranormal investigation group, they learn that their son is trapped and must be saved before it's too late. Josh was a pretty good dad to begin with, and then he takes up the challenge to go into the void, essentially, in order to find and rescue his comatose son. Plus, later on, he does end up confronting some issues from his own childhood, some demons, if you will, in order to protect his family. Tommy Tilden, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, 2016. A father and son working at a mortuary receive the body of a mysterious woman. They try to uncover the truth about who she is and how she died. But the more they uncover about her history, the freakier the things around them get. Tommy is a very patient and caring kind of dad. He's teaching his son what he knows and making sure that he understands things. At the same time, he wants him to be able to live his own life, outside of the mortuary. He's a single father who's had to deal with the loss of his life partner and caring for his son, who has also mourned the loss of a mother. Plus, by the end of the movie, he quite literally sacrifices himself in a truly unsettling fashion to try to save his son. Jacob Fuller, From Dusk Till Dawn, 1996. A father and his two kids get roped into the affairs of a couple of convicts running from the law. They all go to a strip joint that is actually full of vampires. Jacob is actually a rather complex character in that he's still mourning the loss of his wife, while struggling with his loss of faith and trying to keep what's left of his family together. So then, you throw in two unsavory people and a shit ton of vampires. As a single dad, I thought he was doing pretty good. He protects his kids and takes a stand to regain his faith in order to combat the biggest threat they could face. Andy Rose, Cargo, 2017. A man searches across Australia to find a safe place and people to look after his infant child during a zombie pandemic. Time is of the essence though, because he himself is infected. I think just in that summary alone it tells you why Andy is such a good father. Because even while he's essentially facing the slow decline to a fate that's objectively worse than death, his primary concern is his vulnerable daughter. Trekking around Australia would be difficult enough without zombies and your own infection. Ed Harley, Pumpkinhead, 1988. After an accident that kills his young son, a father takes matters into his own hands. A demon whose sole purpose is to seek revenge is unleashed upon those responsible for the tragedy. The relationship between Billy and Ed is absolutely adorable. Ed's whole world is his little boy, so when he's taken away from him, it really does seem natural for him to seek revenge. Even so, he does come around and realize that what he's done isn't right, and it's not what Billy would have wanted. And since the curse can't be reversed, Ed decides decides to face the consequences of his actions head-on to try to save the remaining members of the group of young adults. Arthur Kipps, The Woman in Black, 2012. A grieving man is sent to sort the affairs of a woman who had lived by herself in an old manor. Children in the nearby town begin to die horribly, and the blame is placed on the deceased woman. Kipps must uncover the truth and try to stop the woman in black. Another single father who is trying his best. It's made very clear from the beginning of the movie that Arthur is still grieving the loss of his wife. He genuinely doesn't feel like he can live anymore, but he does for his son. He goes to work and does his job and just tries to be there for him. He's a bit disconnected, obviously, but he's still trying. And Arthur and Joseph really do love each other. Plus, when the woman in black goes after Joseph, Arthur quite literally lays his life on the line to try to save him. Steve Freeling, Poltergeist, 1982. The Freeling family generally appears to be your average suburban American family, until some supernatural events occur and take the youngest member of their family, which forces them to come together and enlist the help of some paranormal professionals in order to fight the malevolent forces threatening to tear them apart. I put Steve on this list for a few different reasons. He's actually what I would consider a cool dad. He's chill but dedicated to his family. He loves his wife and children and doesn't show any of that stereotypical "I'm the man of the house so do what I say" shit. Also, it's evident that he and Diane had Dana pretty young, so he clearly stepped up to make sure he could provide for them. And when shit hits the fan and throws ghosts into the mix, he's willing to do anything and everything to get his daughter back and ensure everyone else's safety. Also, I really appreciate his mindset in Poltergeist 2. Before we get to my pick for the #1 best dad in horror, I want to include some honorable mentions. William, The Witch, 2017. Lieutenant Donald Thompson, A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. Robert Thorne, The Omen, 1976. Gabe Wilson, Us, 2019. Martin Brody, Jaws, 1975. The island town of Amity is under attack by a giant great white shark, so 3 interesting characters venture out to capture and even kill the man-eater, before even more people become its meal. Chief Brody is on my list because he really goes out of his comfort zone to ensure that his kids and everyone else on the island will be safe. It's mentioned and shown in Jaws that he has a phobia of the ocean, but he still goes with Quint and Hooper on a boat to find a shark that's already eaten a number of people. Never once do we see him yell at his sons or treat them like they're a nuisance. The only time that he raises his voice at them is when he's trying to make them be safe. He and his wife have a very loving and comfortable relationship, and it's just a good dynamic that they have. He never talks down to any of them. So those were my picks for the top 10 best fathers in horror movies. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like to let me know. And don't forget to leave a comment down below telling me who you think the best dad in a horror movie is. You can support the channel through my Patreon, where you can get early access to videos like this. Also, don't forget to share this video to help the channel grow and subscribe for more videos like this. See you later.